Like I didn't even know you could do this stuff until a few months ago. And I really started hitting the ground running about 2.5 months ago. And since then, we've done over 2 million in transactions. I've raised about a million, give or take, between a few projects. And I come from literally nothing. Like if you look at where I come from to where I am now, like I grew up on food stamps, like mom working 3 jobs, dad in federal prison. Like you talk about like all the boxes, I check every single one of them. And guess what, bitch? I'm still fucking here.
Yes,
You know what I'm
sir.
saying?
What's good, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Israel Miller podcast. Today I got my esteemed guest Paul Rodriguez from all the way from Tampa, Florida. I'm on the opposite side of the Panhandle in Miami. But Paul and I, we've been friends for a little less than a year now. I met him almost a year ago at the Squad Up Summit. Um, and when I met him, we instantly connected. I was actually sitting behind him on day one, no, day two of the summit, and he just turned around and he had his entire team sitting there, which would amaze me because his team was all from all over the U.S. His team members are spread out everywhere, and mind you, like teaming up in the real estate business, like I'm the type of person or my mentality at that time when I first went to Squad Up, it was like I was a lone wolf and I didn't believe in partnerships. I partnered with people, but it's always on a deal by deal transactional base. And Paul and Mike and the rest of his team members, they were all there. They all had their roles in their respective business, and they were all over the U.S. And I believe where were you living at the time? Because you just recently moved to Tampa, right?
Yeah, my wife and I were actually both active duty Air Force, and we were stationed at Whiteman Air Force Base in the middle of nowhere, Missouri, believe it or not. Yeah, so I was actually living in. It's funny when we went to Squad Up Summit, it was like we are in the middle of moving, and my daughter had just been born, and my wife was
Right.
like, "So you want me to take care of the kid by myself in Florida the whole time while you're at the real estate conference?" And I was like, "Yeah,
Yeah, exactly
yeah,
what I want.
I don't think I got any other choice, you know." But she ended up loving it. She was chilling at the pool. My daughter learned how to swim. Yeah,
No doubt, no doubt. Well, welcome to Florida, welcome to Tampa, welcome to civilization.
yes, sir.
So, as he already said, former Air Force, retired Air Force, and most importantly, he's a loving husband. He's a father, and he also loves to help people. That's one of the things I'm impressed with him about him most is like the passion that he pours into other people. He helped me several times over the last year developing my mindset. And we're going to definitely be partnering on a lot of situations in a very near future. We got a lot of things bubbling in the background right now. So Paul, listen, man, just bottom line, start off by telling us your origins of getting into the real estate realm.
Yeah, so I was fortunate enough to kind of be brought up in this life. So my father was a real estate investor. He had a portfolio of about 50 doors, and ultimately ended up losing it during the 08, 09 recession.
Mm,
And so my family kind of went through these periods of being very well off to then being very, very poor. And so I kind of have a unique perspective on life, and I appreciate life and the little things so much more because I've seen both sides of it. So I grew up watching my dad flip houses, grow the portfolio, ultimately lose it, right? And so when I was a kid, I just kept telling myself that, when I become an adult, I'm going to become established. I'm going to build that portfolio myself, and I'm going to make sure that I never lose it so that one day I have something beautiful to pass down to my children. In the Bible, it says you need to leave your children with wealth and land. And I take that very seriously as a man of faith, as a man of God. And so that was my mission from a very young age, 16, 17 years old. I was about to graduate high school, and I had terrible grades, and I'm applying to colleges and nobody's letting me in. And my dad said, "You need discipline, plain and simple. You need to go into the military. You got to figure your stuff out. It'll iron you right out." But that's not to say you can't focus on the real estate stuff. It just has to be on the back burner for now. It can't be your main focus. He was super realistic with me. And I said, okay, Dad, that sounds good. So I enlisted, and I ended up doing 7 years in the Air Force. I was security forces. Basically, I was the one scanning IDs at the gate. I was the one, basically driving up to an aircraft and saying, "Yep, that's the same one that was here this morning." And that was my job for a while. And it was a love hate relationship, but ultimately it gave me everything. Everything in my life is a direct result of me joining the military. So, it's funny when you're always looking for opportunities, that's what always presents itself. And so, with that background in real estate, I got stationed at my first base in South Carolina. And one day, my supervisor comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, Rodriguez." And I'm like, "Yes, sir." Like all nervous. And he's like, "What are you doing this weekend? What kind of plans do you have?" This guy was intense. This guy's a bodybuilder. He's big as shit. He's like, he's a big dude. And he's a sergeant at the time. And I'm like, I got one stripe. You know what I mean? Like, I'm the little guy in the room. And "What are you doing this weekend? What plans do you have?" And I was like, "Nothing, Sarge. Like, I probably hit the gym on Saturday and then, go chill with my girl." And he's like, "Nah, you're not going to the gym. You're not chilling with your girl. You're coming over to flip this duplex with me." I was like, "Flip a duplex? What the fuck are you talking about?" Like, but I was like, "Yes, sir. Like, whatever you need me to do, I'll do." And so I went over and I basically helped him demo this duplex. A shithole, man. Roaches everywhere. Rats, fucking drywall destroyed, roofs caving in. And basically, he was able to get this place at auction for like 50 grand. And he was like, "Dude, if we fix this up, I think I can get like over 100 grand." And at the time, this is 2017, 2016. He's like,
Mm-hmm.
"Bro, I could put 10 grand into this and I could potentially make a 40 grand profit. A great deal." I'm like, "All right, cool, let's do it." So I worked with him over that summer. It was hot as fuck, bro. South Carolina in the summertime, no AC in that fucking duplex, swinging a hammer, doing everything, bro. I learned how to do crown molding. I learned how to paint. I learned how to, repair drywall, how to hang sheetrock, all these little things I'm learning. And I didn't think it was going to impact me the way it did. Well, he basically taught me one lesson that stuck with me to this day. And he said, "How you do anything is how you do
You do
everything.
everything. That's
If everything's half-assed, you're going to have a half-assed life. But if you're that person that every single time you see something that needs corrected or fixed in your life and you fix it on the spot, you're going to have a great life because you don't let stuff build up, you don't let stuff bother you, and more importantly, you handle things right away so they don't come up to bite you in the ass, later on in life." And so I listen to this guy and I take in all the knowledge and I'm learning how to flip houses and how to do these things. And so one day the work was complete. We finished the duplex and I basically, I was like, "All right, dude, like I'll see you at work." It was like a Sunday. I was like, "I'll see you at work on Monday." And he's like, "Yeah, I've got some showings. I think this one's going to get sold." The realtor's got he's talking about pocket listings and he's got off market buyers. I'm like, "I don't even know what that means, bro, but that sounds good. I'll talk to you later." So I forget about it. A couple weeks go by, and at like 6:30 in the morning, bro, I'm chilling in my dorm on base, like my little barracks. I got my twin bed I'm chilling on, and somebody pounded on my door, like the cops
sounding
was
like the
at my door, and
cops.
I'm like, "What did I do, bro?" Like, I had just worked a mid shift. I worked all weekend, all night, and this was like 6:30 in the morning. I'm just falling asleep, and it's him. It's that my supervisor, and I'm thinking he's about to fuck me up. I did something wrong, and he's like, "Hey, here's your check." Check. And he's like, "Yeah, bro, you just swung a fucking hammer with me for 2 months. I'm flipping this duplex. Like, I'm gonna break bread with you." And I was like, "Okay." So I look at it, and it was like $5,000. And I know you understand that as a military member, I don't make a lot of money.
No,
So that
sir.
$5,000 check was realistically like 2 months, maybe 3 months worth of pay at the time as a E2, E3, I think. I don't remember what rank I was, but I wasn't making shit. I had no
He's a
money. You know what I
specialist.
mean? Yeah, like I'm broke. I'm basically a broke college student. You know what I mean? And so anyway, I get this money and I something clicks in my head, like that's what I need to be doing later on in life. And then like a week later, bro, I get orders to Italy. And so I'm like, maybe it's a sign from God I shouldn't be doing the real estate stuff. So I follow the path that God lays out for me, right? I basically in the Air Force, they have a list that you can basically say you call it your dream sheet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you basically put in the base that you would love to go to. They give you 8 options in the United States and 8 options overseas, right? And kind of the hack for that is to put none of the stateside stuff and all list all the overseas stuff. Some OG told me about it that I was working with and like a mid shift. And so I was like, okay, cool. So I'm on the internet applying for different things. And I ultimately get picked up for this job. And they're like, hey, can you commit to 3 years living overseas? And I was like, I've never lived overseas, but I'll give it a try. So I dude, the out processing was terrible. It took me forever. My household goods got lost. They lost like all my clothes and stuff on the way over there. Like it was just a like they messed up my car. My car had flooding damage when it was shipped through the port. All this crazy stuff, right? But ultimately, I just took a chance on myself and I went to Italy and ultimately I met a bunch of people that were investing in general, investing in stocks, investing in crypto, investing in real estate. All these different it was like the first time in my career where I was around nothing but financially savvy individuals. And every single one of them had aspirations to invest in real estate. And they would just I was like the young buck in the group, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I was like at the time I was probably 21 years old and I had made rank so fast at that point that I'm hanging out with old heads, 30, 40, 50 years old, like there are people that have either contractors that retired out of the military or a lot of people that were like the OGs, right? Like the Evans, the E8s. I'm hanging around all these people and they're giving me game. They're giving me book recommendations. Hey, join Ryan Pineda's group. Hey, looking at this guy named Pace Morby. Looking at this guy named Jamil Damji. So I'm getting game from all of them, and so I found Pace, right, and I loved Pace Morby's message. I started watching all his YouTube stuff, and then I fell off because I met this girl and we started traveling, and I started doing this whole thing. She ended up becoming my wife, right? But I basically fell in love and put my dreams on hold, so to speak. And what I didn't realize was that God had brought my wife into my life so that I had the support so that I was able to be the successful entrepreneur. It wasn't that my dreams were being put on hold. He was giving me my queen for my throne. And that's the way I looked at it. So I remember one day my wife and I sat down. We had just gotten married and I was like, let's talk about our goals. What do you want? And I was like, I want to own real estate. I want to be an investor. I want to help people. I want to do all these different things. What do you want? And she's like, I just want to support you. I want to build a family. I want to be a great mom. I want to be a stay at home mom. And our goals aligned really well. Like she was like, if you can go handle the entrepreneur stuff, go figure out what it takes to be a business owner. I'll hold down the house. And she's done it. So I know that was a really, really long-winded response to your question, but basically, I was partying in high school, joined the Air Force, had a bunch of really great people that gave me a lot of game. And as soon as I came back to the States after COVID, it was over. I started wholesaling like nobody's business. I'm wholesaling in markets I don't live in virtually. I'm JV in deals. I was the dispo to the dispo to the dispo. I'm doing all these different deals. And it just kind of opened my eyes to everything. And that's how I got my start in real estate.
No doubt. So that's that you went from swinging a hammer as a specialist as the lowest rank, making that $5,000 check that just blew your mind. I guess that's where the paradigm shift came in.
Yeah.
To moving across seas, to finding your wife and coming back and turning into the mogul that you're transitioning into now.
Yes,
That's
sir.
dope. That's dope. So you went from wholesaling. You started off one of the first strategies you did was wholesaling, which is a lot of people's first step into the real estate market. That was mine's as well. So right now, if I'm not mistaken, you're doing some things with affordable housing with storage containers or something, right?
Yeah, so I'm fortunate enough to be in contact with a lot of people that are doing a lot of really cool stuff. And I met my current partner, Liuver Sanudo. He's based out of Houston. He's a big investor. He's an awesome realtor, a really great mentor, and an awesome friend, right? And so I'm doing deals with him. I'm raising capital for his projects because that's pretty much like my main role in real estate. Is I raise the money for the projects, right? And so I'm doing this project with Leuver, and I end up brushing past with this guy named Brian Madsen. And
Right.
Brian is he's a Marine veteran. He's a recovering felon. Like he was in the system for a while.
Hmm.
And Brian does a lot of awesome stuff with providing affordable housing for veterans, for felons that are transitioning back into society. And I respected Brian's work so much that I just like I kind of clung to him, and I was like, bro, like teach me everything you know. I want to know more about this stuff. And so over the past few months, he's just been sending me like, hey, here's what I think about this project. Here's how I think we can provide all these cool opportunities for veterans so that they're not homeless, or for felons that are coming out of the system that don't have anything. And so I'm like, all right, this is awesome, right? And then one day he hits me up and he's like, yo, I need 50 grand for this project. And I'm like, okay. So I click on the link, and no bullshit, Israel, it's those big metal storage units that you see at the port. And he's got like six of them stacked on each other. And they've got like doors and windows, and it looks like a house, basically, right? A house made out of a storage container. And so I'm like, all right, this is pretty cool. Like I'm interested in what's going on here. And essentially what he's able to do is, okay, gotcha. Sorry, I think we have some technical difficulties. But he's got these storage containers, and essentially what they're able to do is have them prefabricated to where we can essentially in one day turn a storage container into a house for somebody. Running electric, running water, the whole nine. Like, yo, you back?
I'm back, man. Hold on, I
I was
gotta
just telling
change
the
my
good
stuff.
people.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I
gotta.
was just telling the people the good word.
So, so, so you linked up with the storage containers. My bad, my computer crashed, but I just jumped on my
No
phone real
worries.
quick. We got to pivot, you know what I mean? When
Yes,
technology
sir.
acts out.
Yeah.
All right. So you
Yeah,
also
yeah.
mentioned capital raising. So tell me a
Yes.
little bit about how that works.
Yeah, so it's really cool being in real estate, because real estate is one of the very few industries where a lot of what you do is negotiable, right? And what I mean by that is, as long as both parties, the buyer and the seller, agree to some terms, as long as it's legal and it's ethical, you can make it happen. And so the same is true for all the other parts of the transaction whenever you're buying or selling real estate. And so what I do, I specialize in, is I'll go to people that are interested in investing in real estate and have some money set aside, but don't have the time or the resources to actually go do the project themselves, right? As you know, whenever you're flipping a house, or you've got a large multifamily conversion that you're doing, or maybe you're building new construction for affordable housing. That stuff is very labor intensive. It requires a tremendous amount of supervision and a ton of time that the entrepreneur has to devote to these projects, right? And so, what I basically offer is an opportunity to work with an entrepreneur that is already established in whatever market this deal is in. So you basically get to go work with a 7, 8, 9 figure entrepreneur that's doing this at a very high level. So it's a learning aspect. So the person that we raise capital from will essentially say, "Hey, listen, an example would be, hey, Israel, we've got this project that we have great hard money loan on it. We were basically at 9% for our hard money. I need a gap lender to come in second position and fund the gap, right? So any holding costs that we have and also sometimes when we do our estimations on what a property is going to be, we typically kind of go like middle of the pack, right? Like what the average cost is. Not something that's super high end, and not the low end crappy stuff. Like something that's like right in the middle, right? And so what we're able to do with gap funding is kind of get a little bit more to do those higher end flips. Yeah, yeah. So essentially what I'll be able to do is get hard money to buy and renovate the property, and that usually covers about 90% of the renovations, the cost at least. And
Hmm.
it'll cover 100% of the acquisition. So I'll go out and I'll get somebody who maybe they got 50, 100 grand, whatever it costs to renovate the property. And I'll just say, hey, I'll give you a double digit return, and then I'll collateralize your investment. So it's collateralized in two ways, or in other words, you have security in two ways for your investment. The first is we always buy our properties at lower than 70% of the ARV. And the reason for that is that we always have the option to refinance out of that hard money, out of that second position PML with a refi, right? We could do a DSCR loan. The bank will give us 75% of the ARV, which is why we're always under that 70%, so that we could always cash out the hard money and the PML in one swoop. We don't have to get creative with it. We can essentially plan it all out on the front end so that if unforeseen things happen, we always have a backup plan. So that's kind of our methodology on raising capital. Is we like to connect people that are already doing really great projects, and then we connect them with people that are interested in doing those projects that have some money set aside to do it, right? So everybody wins basically, right? They get experience. The entrepreneur doesn't have to come out of pocket to facilitate the flip. And then I obviously make my fee or my money out of the deal in three different ways. Either I get equity in the deal, and that could look different, right? It could be a split of the cash flow. It could be a split of the upside on the equity, maybe
Mm-hmm.
a longer term play if they're holding on to the thing. The other two ways I can get paid is arbitraging the interest rate. So if I go to a private money lender or somebody who's interested in maybe lending, and I say, hey, listen, if you lend me $100,000, I can give you a 10% return on your investment within the next 6 to 9 months. So I secure that money at 10%,
Right.
and then I arbitrage it, or in other words, I go find somebody who needs that same amount of money at a higher rate. And so sometimes investors are willing to pay 20% for that gap funding. So if I have the money secured at 10%, I make a 10% spread by selling it to that investor at 20%. So a lot of times you're able to eat on a lot of those just off the interest. If
Right.
you're able to lock up money at around 10%, which is hard to do, especially in second position, you have to have a lot of connections and have repeat business, but it's possible. And so that's where I make a lot of my money, is those 5%, 10% spreads on bigger deals, right? So anyway, the third way I get compensated is just a flat fee. And that would be something like a wholesale fee or an origination fee, or sometimes people refer to it as a connector fee. But yeah, it's raising capital is insane, dude. Like, I didn't even know you could do this stuff until a few months ago, and I really started hitting the ground running about 2.5 months ago. And since then, we've done over 2 million in transactions. I've raised about 1 million, give or take, between a few projects, and I come from literally nothing. Like, if you look at where I come from to where I am now, like, I grew up on food stamps, like mom working three jobs, dad in federal prison. Like, you talk about like all the boxes, I check every single one of them. And guess what, bitch? I'm still fucking here.
Yes,
You know what I'm
sir.
saying? No, nobody and nothing can hold me down, because when you look at where I come from versus where I'm at right now, these motherfuckers can't touch me. You're not willing to outwork me. You're not willing to stay up on a weeknight where you got an early commitment in the morning. You're not willing to put forth all that effort. I am, because I come from nothing. Literally, every day is a new opportunity for me to be the man that I could respect one day once I retire. And so it's me versus me, bro. I'm conquering myself every single day.
Every
And
day.
that's just what it is, bro. And that's something that real estate's taught me for sure.
Sure, that's one of my biggest mentalities is like I'm into cycling, you know. So every time I get on a bike, it's me against myself. It's me pushing, challenging what I did the day before. I call it life behind bars. Like I'm a life behind that handlebar, man, and it's just me and that bike, and it's me pushing everything. Like it's just putting everything into it. But like I dig the methodology you're using right now, making money in the spread. Like this is exactly what banks do. You know, we put our money into savings, they give us a measly less than 1%, a 0.5% on our money, and then they go loan our money out on the credit cards and make 19, 25% on the money that when they loan it to us on credit cards, man. So making money in the spread, like guys, like that's a gem in itself right there. What do y'all all think about this? Like drop a comment like with the math that he just broke down, three different ways on how he gets paid from raising capital, not even using his own money, but using other people's money to invest in other people's deal, and being a connector, being the middleman, being the man in the middle. Like that's a beautiful methodology right there. Yeah, dope, 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 dope. So tell me this, like what's the benefit to a person like myself? I want to invest with you. I want to invest in one of the houses you're raising for. Like what how does that directly benefit me as an investor?
I would say the first part is that experience, right? Like, I think everybody's been in a job interview where they ask you what your experience is, and you kind of have to fumble around and say, well, basically, in so many words, I don't have any experience, right? And whatever you compare somebody who has experience and someone that doesn't, the person that has that experience, they might not need the money or the resources or any of that stuff because they know how to do it, right? The same is true in real estate. Whenever you're flipping a house, if you've never done it before, you're going to go way over budget. You're going to make a bunch of mistakes. You're going to pay people too much, and then they're going to run off and they're not going to complete the project. And then you're going to be in the hole. And then you're not going to be able to make your payment on your hard money loan. All of these different little hurdles that people would typically, unfortunately, have to address, all of that stuff can be removed by working with somebody who's done this before. So
Hmm.
that's the first thing I offer is experience. If you want to learn how to flip houses, go work with somebody who owns 60 doors and has flipped 50 plus projects in the last 12 months. That's somebody I want to learn from, bro. Not try to go figure all this stuff out on my own. That trial and error process, it'll rob you of what the enjoyment of this game should be. So that's the first thing is the experience. The second is every single one of our deals are secured by real estate, meaning, worst case scenario, I get abducted by aliens, World War III happens, COVID 2.0 happens, whatever. That investor who lends money on our projects will get paid out regardless. And we do that in two ways, right? The first is that we're always buying properties below 70% of the ARV.
Uh-huh.
The reason for that is we have a DSCR loan that we could always cash them out in the event that the project goes sideways. So let's say we buy this property, we start renovations, we tear down all the drywall and all that stuff, and we see crap. There's mold in the walls that we didn't anticipate, or we've got foundation issues that we didn't see during our inspection until we pulled up the floors. Stuff like that happens all the time. And if you don't know what to do in that scenario, dude, you could be really, really screwed. And so that's why we always buy everything deeply discounted, always off market. It's funny, we have all these fancy tools, Deal Sauce, Privy, all these awesome softwares to go find a lot of these properties that are on market, and we don't even buy anything on the market. Like, I haven't we've done just with Leuver. Leuver and I have done multiple transactions just in the past 2 months, and not a single one of them we've bought from a realtor or a broker. It's all from wholesalers. It's all from people in the community that are offering deals that the bank can't offer, bro,
Hmm.
that the realtor can't offer, because that's just what it is.
Yeah.
So we protect them in two ways. Because we buy such a deeply discounted price, we're able to give them that stability of the equity cushion. Meaning, if everything is said and done, meaning all expenses are paid, the closing costs, whatever the acquisition fees would be, whatever the return is for our private money lender, after all that stuff is being paid, we should at the bare minimum be making six figures. $100,000 or more is our
Wow.
is our threshold. If I'm not making a triple digit flip, this deal is not for me. And the reason why I say that is because it's the same amount of work to flip a single family house for $400,000 or $500,000 as it is to go renovate 8 units. It's the same amount of work. It's the same process. It's just literally, it's like Legos, bro. Like, once you've built it once, you're like, okay, got it. The bricks go together like this.
Yes.
I can't pull them apart like this. It's the same thing, bro. It's the same thing. And so what we do is we buy deeply discounted so that we can confidently say to an investor, hey, listen, not only are you going to get experience in working with me, in working with an 8 or 9 figure entrepreneur, but we also have $350,000 worth of equity cushion in this deal. So your money is protected no matter what. But I'm very serious about your investment. So I'm going to take it a step further. I've got $3 to $4 million worth of equity in our portfolio. So I'm going to collateralize it against some of the equity we have in our portfolio as well. So your money is double collateralized. It's collateralized in the deal with that equity cushion. And then let's say if you're lending me $150,000 Typically, lenders want to see 1 to 1.5, maybe 2 times that in the collateral, right? So if I've got four or $500,000 worth of equity in my portfolio, I can just use 250, 300 of that to basically put a second position lien. It's really easy. You can literally record these, like these documents with the county for like $100,
Right.
and you can very easily put a second position lien on whatever equity you have in your portfolio. So you can comfortably go to an investor and say, not only can I pay you 10% on your money, but I can also guarantee that we're going to make at least $300,000 in this flip. And in the event that for whatever reason we can't, God willing, we can do it, right? But in the event that we can't, worst case scenario, you're protected in the equity that we already have in our portfolio. So you
Mm.
get experience, you get a solid investment, but more importantly, you're able to learn. You're able to learn how this thing of ours works. And that's something you can't put a price on, bro.
Nah. And I think that's probably the biggest benefit right there. Because, I said it before on one of my other podcasts is like, too many people are out here investing money in masterminds and mentorships on courses, on whatever, like, and they get like zero return because they take little to no action. They'll take little to no action, and it's just them by themselves trying to figure it out. Because once you buy that course, once you join that mastermind, like you do get education. So it does give you value on that aspect. But if it's up to you to act on your own, a lot of people are missing out when it comes to implementation and taking action. So, the biggest benefit to partnering with someone like you is like, after I partner with you, I now have that property on my resume,
Exactly. You've got
which
a
is,
story to tell for the rest of your life.
yeah,
Right? Like, especially what's so great about the people that I've been able to partner with that I raise capital for is I only work with people that are super experienced, people that have a wealth of knowledge to give you. So whenever you work with me, it's like you're being mentored and also making money at the same time. That's a beautiful thing, bro.
yes, it is.
If your mind is being sculpted and your pockets are getting fatter at the same time, what's there to complain about? Life's good. Let's
I,
make it happen together, baby. Come on.
Life's very good, man. Life is very good. Earn while you learn, man. There's no better
Earn while
way.
you learn.
There's no better way. You go to college 5, 6, 7 years, depending on what type of degrees you want, and then you got a bunch of debt to pay off, and then you might come out of college with like with a minimum wage job, or not even working a career in what you went to college for. Like, not saying anything is wrong with that. I definitely went to college, and I appreciate the path that I took. But bottom line is like, all those are investments that doesn't always guarantee the return. And this way right here is you're developing a skill set that will pay you infinite returns if you take action. If you take action.
That's the key right there, right? Is taking that action. And I want to speak on the methodology real quick.
Hmm.
So, if anybody's familiar with the gold rush in the United States, basically a long time ago, somebody wrote in a paper that they were finding so much gold out west, out in California, right? And it blew up. Everybody would read the newspaper. Oh my God, they just found $1 million worth of gold. And this is in the 1800s, bro. $1 million worth of gold is realistically probably like $50 million in today's money, right?
Right.
So if you find $1 million back then, like you're set, your family set, everybody's set. And so they called it gold fever, right? Where everybody basically packed up their wagons on the East Coast and in the Midwest, and they all went out to the west half of the United States in search of gold. And the reality is 99.9% of people found no gold. In fact, most of them found hardships. Their family died as a result of disease on the way there. Their wheels on their wagon break, and they get attacked by bears. Like Native Americans attack them and scalp their families. Like the worst of the worst happened on there, right? Only a very small percentage of the people actually saw gold, that actually was able to benefit off that. But you know who always benefited? It was the guy selling the pickaxes and the shovels and the lanterns and the flashlights and all these other little things to help you with mining, right? That's the person that made money. Now, if you were to translate that skill or that methodology into 2025, present day, the people who control the pickaxes are the people that control the money. The people that are able to raise capital, private capital, is, I think, in my personal opinion, the most important skill that you could have in any industry is being able to raise capital because it's so versatile because money can buy anything, right? The only thing you can't buy is time.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as it's not time that you're looking for, you can get money by just doing the things that I'm outlining here, right? Like if you're able to always interject yourself into conversations and let people know what you do, like, hey, I can get money for whatever deal you have. You're buying a business, cool. I can get you money for that. Do you need business funding? Do you need 150 to $200,000 in 0% APR credit cards? I could do that for you. In fact, I can do it in a couple days, right? So all of these little things, all these little skills add up to me controlling the pickaxes during the gold rush.
Absolutely. And guys, what y'all gotta realize is like as a lender, as a capital raiser, like you don't have, as he's saying, you don't have to be the one to go out and find the deals. You don't have to be the one that's stressing over rehabs and contractors walking out on your money or buyers not coming to the table to close the deal on a transaction that you got money invested in that you're trying to wholesale and your deposit is on the line now. Like you don't have to worry about any of that because people come to you in every transaction. People are going to seek you out because you're the one that holds the gold. You're the one that holds the gold. Like so, there's multiple ways. Um, there's so many multiple ways to make money in a real estate realm and capital raising. Like, that's the next progression that I'm working towards as well, is to become that capital raiser. So that's why I like love talking to people like Paul, because the knowledge that he could share and the education that he could provide to my viewers, like, is golden. He's telling y'all the real deal about how the benefits of capital, like of investing with people like myself, investing with people like the person he partnered with, Louver, and the Pace Morbys in the world, the Jamil Danjis in the world, and everyone that's out here that's killing it in the real estate game. Like, there's so many ways to make money. But Paul, I appreciate you for sharing that. But you just mentioned how you could get me or get anyone 150 to $200,000 within a matter of days. Speak a little bit more on that.
So there's a thing called business funding that a lot of entrepreneurs hear, but I feel like it doesn't register, or maybe nobody's like told them really clearly what it means. Business funding is where if you do all of the correct things on your personal credit, you can get a shit ton of money in credit cards for your business, and they're in your business's name, right? So they're not going to report on your personal credit report. And so, why that's so powerful is even though it's not going to report on your personal credit, you can still leverage your personal credit and personally guarantee these funds for your business. Now, think of it as co signing for your business, right? Think about back to the time when you were 16, 17, 18 years old and you were going to buy your first car, right? And maybe you didn't have the credit to go get that new car. So you ask your mom or you ask your dad or your grandma or your grandpa or somebody that like a friend, anybody that's co-signed for this loan for you, right? The same is true with your business. You can co-sign the money that you're going to get. So what I teach entrepreneurs is number one, how to be financially literate. How do you actually make money? How do you preserve money? And how do you grow your money over time? That's the first piece that you get with working with me. The second piece is I teach you that, hey, you need to make sure that your personal credit, the profile is completely perfect. What I mean by that is no late payments, none. If you have late payments, don't even think about getting funding. If you have stuff in charge offs or collections or any of that stuff, you have to make sure that you're pulling your credit report every month because if you have those things that you don't know about and you go for funding, it's not gonna turn out great for you.
Hmm.
But if you go through this checklist of like making sure there's no delinquent items, you have 12 to 15 total accounts, right? And that's like a mix of accounts, credit cards, real estate loans, mortgages, your car note. It could be
Hmm.
anything. There's so many services now that can report your bills, your utilities,
Mm.
to your credit report.
Your
That can
cell
count as an
phone, your
account.
rent. Yeah, your cell phone, your rent, all that could be reported to you.
All of it. So the goal is to get 12 to 15 accounts, have no negative items on your credit report, and then you basically want to have utilization for your credit cards, or the amount of money that you actually have spent on your cards, under 3% of your total amount. And that, what I've just described to you, is something that I paid somebody $50,000 to learn. Okay. If you can do what I just said, you can get 150,000 to $250,000 in 0% interest credit cards for a year to a year and a half. So as an entrepreneur, when you're first starting out and you don't really have a lot of money because you're not cash flowing just yet, or maybe you haven't got your first deal in real estate, this is a great opportunity for you to have some working capital for your business. Everybody needs to pay for something in their business, but a lot of times when we're first starting out, it's not an option. But what if I came to you and I said, Israel, I'll give you 100 grand. I just need you to pay me $1,000 a month. When you're first starting out, that's like shit, 100 grand? Seriously? Like in my name, like I can spend it however I want? Yeah, 100 grand. Okay, yeah, just pay me $1,000 a month. It's a good deal, bro.
Yes, sir.
And me as the capital raiser, as the person who funds businesses, I'm able to get a return of my own. So it varies from every deal, but a great example of it would be, hey, if I'm able to get you, if I come to you and I say, Israel, I can get you $200,000 in funding. Would you pay me 5,000 for that? Would that be worth it in your eyes?
Hell yeah.
Of course it would, because you didn't have access to that 200 grand before me. So it makes sense to pay me five grand on that so that you can get 195 grand, right?
Right.
And so that's kind of what I do. Is that same methodology of like, if you're just starting out, or maybe you already have a successful business, but you've always just paid for things out of your pocket, paying for things in cash. That's something that I know was stressed in my parents' generation, right? Don't get credit cards, don't go into debt, save all your money, only spend money on your debit card, right? That's foolish, because it provides no leverage to your money, right? And when you're able to leverage a lot of these incentivized programs that these credit card companies have, when it comes to spending, you can get free vacations, free hotels, free airfare, like free vacations, free cruises, all from credit card points on stuff that you were already going to spend it on anyway, right? Like if I'm a business owner and I got to pay for the lights, and I got to pay for the internet, and I got to pay for the software and the systems and the processes and the payroll, I got to pay the attorney, I got to pay this, I got to pay that. I'm already paying that shit anyway, right? So why not report that, number one, to get credit for it? But more importantly, why not use somebody else's money to pay for it? That way, the money you do have saved up, that's in case of emergency, bro. You have money, for a rainy day. I call it my war chest. It's time to go to war. I go to the war chest, bro. Pull out the big racks. That's you shouldn't be using your money unless it's a last resort. Other people's money is cheaper, it's more efficient, and it's readily available. So if you got really good credit, come talk to me. I can guarantee you I'm going to get you at least 100 grand, and I can have it to you within a week. And that's at 0% for a year.
Wow.
You were not finding that anywhere else, bro. I guarantee it. And if you do, I want to talk to him, because we need to start a partnership or something.
Yeah, that's free money right there, guys. 0% interest for a year or a year and a half. That's free money right there.
You got to pay it back though. You got
Yeah,
to
you
pay it back.
definitely got to pay it back.
It's free money
This
to a
is not a
degree.
play. It's not a play if you think you want to go out here and blow it. If you don't have a plan for it, don't get involved in this type of stuff. These are for more advanced people, people who's on the grind, people who's trying to make things happen. But if you ain't got a solid plan, like stay away from this type of stuff, man. So Paul, like this is real intriguing. So if I understand you correctly, I could come to you. You could help me go to the bank. You could apply for some lines of credits for me, some credit cards. Give me 200,000 in funding that I could then turn around, invest in a deal with you that's going to get me an equity partnership in a property and bring me a return on that money. Am I
Yep.
understanding that correctly?
Yeah, so I'm a one-stop shop. I'll teach you how to build your credit, I'll teach you how to get the funding, and then I'll give you an opportunity for you to invest that money into. So not only are you getting the education piece and the experience, you're making money while you're doing it, but you're also getting way more access to other people's money in the process.
Man, I wish I had a flex bomb right now. Boom. I gotta get some
It's
sound
such a cheat
effects,
code.
man. Like, what?
Yeah,
This
it's
is
crazy.
crazy, man. This is crazy, yo. Listen, man. I don't even want to hold you no more, like, because we could go on for hours on this about this conversation right here. But I just appreciate you for all the gems you just dropped. So tell me this, what is it that you need in your business right now? Like anyone that's watching this video, how can I help you? Or how can, like, if someone is watching this video right now, what can they do to bring you value?
Yeah, I'm somebody who really values relationships and connections, right? So I'm not somebody who gets caught up on the money. So I would love to connect with like-minded individuals that are trying to get better at whatever they're doing. Doesn't have to be real estate, doesn't have to be funding related. I just like making new friends and new connections because um, it's always been in my life who, not how. So that's the
Hmm.
first thing I'll talk about. I would say the majority of what I need in my business is private money lenders to come and invest in these deals. I always have phenomenal opportunities for people to make a kick-ass return on their money. So I'm always looking to partner up with new people that I can take under my wing, show them what we do, how we do it, so they can do it themselves. And then I say outside of that, I'm a veteran and I believe in helping our veterans. So anybody that has any kind of veteran centric program or outreach or anything to do with veterans, I'd love to help in whatever way I can, even if it's just pointing you in the right direction, connecting you with the right people. Always looking to connect with my vets. Got a special place in my heart for them.
For sure.
But yeah, if you're a person that maybe you just need a little bit of direction, I'd love to help with that. Maybe I can try and help. But at the end of the day, I think the biggest thing I need is more partners to make money with, right? Like I make money whenever I make other people money, right? So if you want to make some money, come talk to the people that are doing it, bro.
No doubt. And guys, I'm telling y'all, Paul, he's definitely certified on what he's doing out here. I could tell you, like, he's living this in real life. This is not no fabricated conversation. Like, this guy is actually out here doing this stuff in real life. As y'all can hear from his language, like he's a God-fearing man. He puts God's first, he put family first, and then friends second. Like, and that's what he's looking for. He's looking for more partnerships. So, like, again, if you're interested in getting into the real estate game, but you just don't have the knowledge or the know-how, Paul is the perfect person to teach you. I'm the perfect person to show you. But as Paul spoke about earlier, like getting involved with him, you could leverage his experience. You could leverage the solid investments that he's putting into, that he's going to help you get involved in. And while you're leveraging that, you're also going to get the education so you can learn and do this type stuff yourself. So, like, even if you ain't got no money, but if you got a thorough credit profile, y'all need to reach out to this dude because he could level you up and get you involved in this game. So, Paul, just tell the people how they can follow you. Like, how can we contact you if we want to get involved with you?
Yeah, well, thank you for having me, bro. It was an absolute pleasure. If you guys want to tap in with me on Instagram at Paul's Investing, my name is Paul Rodriguez. On Instagram, that's my name. On TikTok, that's my name, Paul's Investing. If you guys want to catch me on Facebook, Paul Rodriguez, there's a million of them out there. I'm the one that's got the check mark. That's how you know it's me, baby.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, listen, I appreciate y'all. Listen, if y'all got any value from this whatsoever, like, just drop a comment and just leave us a note on the biggest thing that y'all took from this podcast. Yeah, I mean, also make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. Like, that supports us tremendously, more than y'all realize, like, with growing our channel, and being able to share this and get this message out to more people. So please leave a comment, like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and click the link right here or right here and watch the next video. And I'm going to see y'all on the next episode. Paul, I appreciate you. The rest of y'all, I'll see y'all when I see y'all. Peace.
Thanks, Iz.
No doubt.